Okay, so as you can see, this student has gone ahead and already done the activity. So I'm going to read the transcript in order to demonstrate how exactly I think Socra can be helpful, in particular for close reading of literary passages. So this is the student. Why does Frost equate being dignified with boughten friendship? Socra. That's an interesting connection. What about the phrase boughten friendship makes you think it relates to dignity? Is there something in the contrast between dignified and boughten that stands out to you? Well, the exact line is better to go down dignified with boughten friendship at your side. Socra. Looking closely at that line, how do you interpret the idea of going down dignified? What do you think Frost is suggesting about the value or nature of boughten friendship? Does it change your understanding of dignity in this context? I wonder if dignified in this context means dignified in the eyes of others, which of course doesn't mean feeling dignified oneself. That's a thoughtful distinction. How does this idea of appearing dignified to others contrast with the reality of feeling dignified inside? What might that say about societal expectations or the nature of relationships in the poem? I think on a literal note, the poem is saying that all that matters in the end is how society views you, not whether you yourself feel dignified, but whether society sees you as dignified. And in addition, the poem suggests that becoming dignified, at least in the view of society, requires not moral goodness or sincerity, but boughten friendship and making the whole stock exchange your own. That's a strong interpretation. Looking at this idea, what does it suggest about the speaker's attitude towards success and societal values? Is there a tension or contradiction in striving for dignity through superficial means like boughten friendship? How could you frame this as a question to explore further? I have to wonder if Frost is being ironic in this poem. Perhaps he is making fun of the very attitude he presents here. Irony adds a rich layer. What specific lines or phrases lead you to feel that Frost might be mocking this attitude? How does this potential irony shift your understanding of the message he's conveying about societal values and dignity? Well, better to go down dignified, with boughten friendship at your side, than none at all. Provide, feels too ridiculous to be serious. The final provide makes it even more satire-like. That's an intriguing observation about the final lines. How does the repetition of provide impact your interpretation of the poem's tone? What might this suggest about the urgency or folly of seeking validation through material means or social capital? The advice sounds forceful, but I'm starting to think that the poem also exposes the desperation and absurdity behind that advice, and general way of thinking. That's a compelling insight. How does the combination of forceful advice and underlying absurdity shape the overall message about societal pressures? What questions does this tension raise for you regarding the pursuit of dignity and how it's measured? Frost uses this clash to expose how societal pressures operate. They sound authoritative, reasonable, and even necessary, yet the values they promote are hollow, unstable, or downright impossible. That's a nuanced interpretation. Given this clash between the authoritative tone and the hollow values, what specific questions arise for you about the implications of this societal critique? If you were to frame your thinking into one interpretive question, what would it be? How does Frost's use of a commanding, proverb-like tone in provide expose the hollowness of the societal values it appears to endorse? And what does this tension suggest about the nature of dignity and self-worth in a materialistic culture? So when the student is ready, now their final question, the one that Socra has urged them to come up with, auto-populates. And then submit for review. Now the teacher gets this information. They get the annotated passage, including all of the students' highlights and written annotations as well. Then they get the submission, so this is the final interpretive question that the student has come up with about this poem or passage. But they also get this transcript so that they can go through and see exactly how the student came up with this question or thesis statement or whatever it is. And the idea is this not only ensures that students are thinking deeply about passages, but also ensures that they're doing their own thinking about passages and gives teachers insight that they wouldn't otherwise have, not only regarding use of AI, but also regarding which ideas materialized and were maybe dismissed, how the student got to where the student ended up, and what that says about the student's overall literary or reasoning capabilities. So, this tool is powerful in that it enables students to learn appropriate and responsible use of AI, but it also allows teachers to see their path to getting to their final answer, whether the final answer is an exam question answer, a thesis statement, or an essay.